Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars. SoundCartel. From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. In business, it doesn't serve anyone to have an either-or mentality. You shouldn't have to choose to be either a manager or a leader, to make a profit or to be ethical. According to Sue Barrett, polarisations don't apply to modern businesses and sales operations. Sue is a leading sales advisor and has provided her annual sales trends to the market for years. And she observes that the best results come by embracing the word and rather than or. So, Sue's first sales trend for 2024? Profits and common good. She explains to Chris Ashmore.
So they tend to sell themselves rather than actually engage, with the target markets and position themselves in such a way that the target market can see themselves being successful with that organisation. So that's number one. That's been a long-standing issue. But one of the key issues too is that most businesses, of course, would have some level of marketing and sales activity, but in many cases these two functions usually work highly independently of each other. So they see them as separate functions, which is detrimental to business success. It's ridiculous because I always say marketing talks to groups, sales talks to individuals is the simplest way to describe them. And if you're talking to different groups and I'm talking to different individuals, we've got a problem here. So we need to work together. So successful businesses understand this, and sales and marketing actually work collaboratively together in harmony, and they recognise it's a symbiotic relationship that, is key to their success, which is why they emphasise and work together in an interdependent way, constantly reading and assessing what the market's about so that they can calibrate accordingly.
If it's better for sales and marketing to work together, how do they do that in a practical sense?
Well, if we look at it, as I said, marketing talks to groups, sales talks to individuals. Marketing's job is to understand the market, to be able to segment it and look at it in its nuance, and then generate leads, build brands in that market, tell the stories of the organisation, provide content, nurture customers through the different mediums that we have, from advertising, whether it's, billboard advertising through to actual social media and those sorts of things, and to refine and offer data insights. Sales, on the other hand, obviously relies on marketing for leads and tools to actually be able to ignite opportunity and close deals. And they also need to be able to provide valuable customer feedback back up to marketing to let them know what's working and what's not. So sales need to be out having human-to-human conversations with people where that brand promise that we've made as a business is then actually able to be demonstrated for real with the humans, the customers that we want to engage with. So working together collaboratively to achieve the sustainable growth, they have to have this constant feedback with each other. So what we've found in our work over the years with clients is actually before anything is marketed or sold, what should happen regularly, and we say every 12 to 18 months at least, is that the senior leadership team, which includes but not limited to sales and marketing. So this, I like to include people from, IT, from HR, from distribution, however your business is made. They need to get in a room every 12 to 18 months to develop and recalibrate their go-to-market strategy and action plan. This is a process where you actually review everything related to market segments, your customers, your products and services, what's working, what's not, competitors, the effectiveness of marketing and sales approaches, including your sales force structure or your social media spend and those kinds of things, and then emerging opportunities. And what I want for people to think, because people go, I've got a business strategy. Yeah, but that's actually a longer term proposition. That's that kind of overarching goal. Whereas your go-to-market sales and marketing strategy is a shorter term tactical plan that is all about customer engagement, attraction and retention. That's dynamic. So yes, you want to win the war, but you've got to actually go into battle, so to speak. Sorry for the war thing, but it's this thing. So sales and marketing is very dynamic, very tactical, and it needs to be responsive. So when businesses make sure that they're actively working together and reading the tea leaves of the market, right, and really engaging both sales and marketing, they have much greater success over the short and longer term.
At risk of labouring the point, when it comes to lead generation, building websites, creating brochures, all those kinds of things, which is traditionally done by the marketing team, it can't really be done in isolation. It shouldn't be done in isolation. It's bringing the sales team on board when creating this collateral.
Oh, absolutely. And lead generation is a really sticking point, big sore point for a lot of sales and marketing teams. So marketing needs to make sure we understand the market and the segmentation and things like that. And as I said, they've got to keep providing feedback to each other. And marketing then is responsible for igniting, lead generation and creating awareness about your products and services. So effective lead generation campaigns, whether it's through content marketing, advertising, social media, need to be able to provide sales teams with a pool of effective potential customers that they can contact and work with. However, if these leads aren't working, which is often the case, what can happen is that sales teams are then, they've got to prospect and make contact, but they've got really poor quality leads because marketing hasn't been paying attention to what actual good customers look like. And vice versa, sales may not be providing feedback up the line. They're just whinging about bad leads. Now, there's another thing we need to counter here as well, is that bad leads could be because they're not targeting the right customers, or salespeople aren't prospecting and following up on these leads to actually ignite and generate opportunity. So it's not a blame one or the other. It's looking at the ecosystem. Have we got the right target market and the type of leads we need to go after? And is the sales force skilled and capable in actually going about igniting opportunity human to human with those leads? So that's what needs to be discussed. From a brand perspective, website perspective, etc., you need a strong brand identity to create marketing if it's easier for sales team to convert, leads into opportunities. And customers are much more likely to engage with the brand they're familiar with and they trust. And then when it comes to content, marketing produces that content and collateral that should aid the sales process, whether it's brochures, presentations, white papers, case studies. So marketing needs to equip salespeople with this, but again, it must be communicated and written from with a very clear value proposition and be client-centric and not just some glossy brochure. That it has to work in sales, when you're human to human, and not just be some expensive piece of paper.
And so after the sale's done and you have potentially a loyal customer, who nurtures that customer? You
need both again. So marketing should be able to keep nurturing leads and customers over time. This is where you use a mix of, email marketing, whether it's some social media engagement, targeted content that's relevant to those customers, not just, spamming them with information, keeping that brand top of mind through, interesting and engaging content. So these are touch points that can help nurture the relationship. But a lot of us, our email boxes are filled with spam and rubbish and stuff. So our attention spans are getting shorter and we haven't got time because we've got so many things. So you better have stuff that's relevant and interesting and useful. But then salespeople should stay in touch with their customers. Now, it depends what type of business you're in. If you're in B2B salespeople should be making regular contact that's relevant to that customer and actually reaching out in meaningful ways to have human-to-human conversations, to check how their world is changing, to see what's actually happening, to introduce them to new concepts and ideas that you can have a discussion about. Marketing doesn't have discussions with people. It just presents concepts and ideas. Sales is where we can have those deep discussions.
Well, effective collaboration between any two teams, marketing and sales in this instance, comes down to communication. How do you ensure communication is done effectively?
Well, you've got to understand your audience, and that includes sales understanding marketing and marketing understanding sales. I mean, you know me, everybody lives by selling something, so we're all a customer of each other at any given point in time, and we've all got ideas and initiatives we would like people to pay attention to, so we're all in sales. So I think what's really important is that there are open channels for communication where customers have the opportunity to provide literal voice of the customer. They can tell you what they're experiencing, and that feedback is taken seriously. There are a lot of big businesses out there that say they care about the customer, but your feedback isn't factored in. They don't really care. They're kind of behemoths. They've kind of got the market. In smaller to medium-sized businesses, where our success really depends on the quality of our relationships with clients, I think we pay much more attention to the nature of what customers are saying, and therefore probably have greater loyalty and better healthy relationships with people. So big business sometimes, because they're so big, think they can get away with pretending that they actually care about feedback when in fact they don't, until it's too late sometimes.
That was Sue Barrett, CEO of Barrett Consulting Group. Business Essentials Daily is a SoundCartel podcast. Producers are Nick Schildberger, Chris Ashmore, Jeff Waters and myself. Technical production by Pete Letts. I'm Nicole Goodman. Thanks for listening. We'll bring you more Be Daily next week. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.